It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Cabela's,
Antler Action,
Spot Shooter Archery,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
and Badass Slingshots. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Up North Journal, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? It's Dan only. Yep, that's right. Dan is only the one in the cabin again. And I tell you what, I kind of like it. I got to send Mike up north more often. But don't worry. We got Mike on the phone for the rest of the show. Hey, Mike, you there?
Did you break into the cabin again?
I did.
Dang it, I'm going to have to put a deadbolt lock on that thing, keep you out of there.
Just use numbers. I only can count to 10, remember?
What's going on?
Nothing. What's happening with you, Mr. Bowhunter? Anything? I hope you got some exciting news for this past
The only thing
weekend.
I got to report right now is I finished off a box of hot tamales. I pounded a Powerade. I'm all sugared up, and I was behind the slowest driver in Michigan for about 15 miles.
Going down 33?
You got it, man. And I'm not behind him anymore, thank goodness. I am, as we speak, getting ready to turn onto the on-ramp of I-75 southbound.
I tell you what, there's nothing worse, and people, you can back me up on this, and Mike knows this too. Either it's US 2 or 33 in Michigan. If you get behind somebody, you're going to get behind the slowest person in the state at that moment.
Oh, good night. I tell you what, it was good sailing all the way, came through Fairview, came through Mayo, came through Rose City, and I'm like, oh, man, clear sailing. And after I got out of Rose City, it was like, I don't know, I got behind the Amish buggy almost, it looked like. Because I was doing like 40, 45, and people are just piled up trying to get home on a Sunday night, and it wasn't happening.
I tell you what, I'm gonna go for people are up north for hunting and the fall colors. How are the colors up there?
Fabulous, man. The fall colors right now in northeastern Michigan are probably popping 75, 80%. There's still some that still got to turn, so I won't say 100%, but I tell you what, it is beautiful. It is awesome. So,
and actually,
and you know what else is awesome?
What?
I am on the freeway, and I'm rolling right now, man. 70, 75 miles an hour, clear sailing, so it's good.
That's a good thing. Just like last time we talked with it, you, well, as we keep talking here, we'll see when you hit the old slowdown there in Bay City. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, right on.
But yeah, I tell you what, it's kind of a rainy day today, but yesterday wasn't too bad. The weather has been warm, to say the least.
Are you kidding, man? Warm is an understatement. I'll get to that here a little later in the show, kind of what happened today. But, yeah, it's definitely warm up here. The weather's been really wacky, so it's been different, that's for sure.
You've had wacky weather. You've had a full moon, and it's been nice, and bright, and big.
Well, up there it was cloudy most of the time, especially last night, so I didn't have that to deal with. But what I'm dealing with right now is rain, and it's raining pretty good. So. Oh boy,
I thought the rain was gone, but I guess maybe not.
I think it's followed me around the state. I tell you the truth.
Well, don't bring it back down here. You can just keep it up there.
How about I leave it up here for now?
Oh, I tell you, it's been an interesting week here at the cabin. You've been up north. I made a little trip down to Cabela's Dundee yesterday to get some supplies for my upcoming hunting trip next week. But
yeah, I seen you were down at the stomping grounds down at Cabela's hanging out. So what took you that way?
Supplies. I tuned in a bow yesterday.
Tuned in a bow yesterday.
Yeah,
okay.
I got one. As you know, everybody knows we got our PSE sponsor. We got one of our bows in that I decided I was going to use for next week, and I waited till the last possible moment to use it. But
oh, that's nice.
Well, yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Nothing like procrastination. That's we can get into that a little later too, because I've got some procrastinating on my end too.
Oh, great! Nothing like a good talk about procrastination from both of us.
Yeah, wait till the last minute.
So yeah, I went down to Dundee. It was it was kind of funny. Listen to the weatherman. The weatherman says, "Oh, it's going to be beautiful all day." So we decided to go down yesterday while it was going to rain today. For some reason, we left Fenton, and it was just socked in cloudiness. So I don't know what the weatherman's talking about, but went down to Dundee, got a new site, new rest, new counterweight, and got that all together. And I brought it home, and I ran right over to Jim's over at Spot Shooters Archery. And Dan over there looked at me kind of funny, and I said, "Hey, you got some time? Got to set up a bow here." So we went in, and about an hour and a half later, he had me all set up, ready to rock and roll. Next week also, my daughters are going to go with me. My oldest daughter, Kelly, and her friend Gabby are going to go up with me. And they needed some bow work done too. So we took all our bows over there, and Jim Beasley and Dan hooked us up and took care of business with us and got things all squared away. We shot today, and everybody's happy.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Got them all dialed in at 20 yards?
Well, for those two, up to 20 yards, yep, that's going to be their max shot pretty much so, with their poundage that they're shooting, 35 to 40. What had happened was when they started shooting in the summer there, we went down to Jim's, got her all tuned in, but as they started shooting Kelly's bow, her serving on her peep sight started to wear, and it came loose.
Okay.
Yep. So we said, we got to get that fixed. And then Gabby, her serving where her D loop was starting to unravel as well. So I said, all right, we got to go get this taken care of because we don't want anything happening out in the woods that we don't want.
Right.
So took him down to Jim's. And I tell you what, walked in, there was nobody there, right? So Dan's like, yeah, I got time. 5 minutes later, the guy's got a boatload of people in the store. It was kind of nice to think that I brought all the people there.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't think that's the way it happened. You brought them all in.
You're probably right. But so what we did is, another thing, kind of letting them shoot there a little bit in the backyard. And I would just kind of stand off in the distance, let them shoot. But I noticed their bows were really noisy, so we ended up also getting some silencers for their limbs and stuff. That was kind of the main reason I took them down there as well.
Okay.
Quieted their bows down quite a bit. The last 2 days, since they're going to be in a pop-up blind, and one is a right-hander and one's a left-hander, we got them in there, and I said, all right, you guys, you got to figure this out. Who's going to shoot what? Who's going to shoot where? Right hand, left hand? And practice shooting out of a ground blind, sitting down.
Right.
So they were working on that today, and we kind of went over our game plan. It's like, okay, if it comes out the front window, you both can take a turn. You guys got to decide who's going to shoot first. If it comes over on this window, the left-hander shoots. It comes out this one, the right-hander shoots. But it was fun to say the least because we also pulled out the 3D target. And not a bag anymore. It's now 3D, as real as you're going to get without being real.
Right.
So got them dialed in there, 20 yards. They're pretty rock solid at a 3D target. Now, when it becomes a real live, living, breathing animal, we'll see.
The heart rate goes up about 110%. Adrenaline dump.
Especially for Gabby, this is going to be the first time she's hunting, and potentially the first time shooting it'll be a buck. Kelly's shot at a couple already, so between the two of them, I'm sure there's going to be some good adrenaline flow in that pop-up blind.
Now, has Gabby ever been out in the woods and seen a deer in the wild?
Yes, that she has, but this is her first time hunting. So this is the first time that she will be hunting, and she wanted to do it. She got a bow in the summer there, and she's been building up to it a little bit at a time. Another thing I forgot to mention, just before I came over to break into the cabin, it was starting to get dark, and they said, "Is it too dark to shoot yet?" I said, "Oh no, it's not dark, and it's not dark yet." I said, "And by the way, each of their sights has lighted pins." I said, "Turn on your little light and practice with it."
Yeah, shooting in low light. That's a good idea.
Yep. So they went out there and they said that they pulled up their bows without the little light on their sights, and then turned the light on, and it was like night and day. So They got used to
It
that.
makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, but I think those two are dialed in. They'll be up with me next week, so I'm looking forward to that, to say the least.
That's cool, man. Getting the family up and friends, and that'll be a good time.
Oh, absolutely. You know, nothing like getting a new hunter out there in the woods. And so I got them two sighted in. I got dialed in. I think from what I was seeing today, I'll know more probably in a couple days, but it looks like I'm going to be using a single pin from 0 to 30.
Okay.
Because I bought a new sight. It's got 5 pins, and I'm like, okay. So I started working with it today, and I'm 20, and then I went out to 30, and I'm like, man, I probably could use the same pin.
Yeah, that's nice. With some of these PSE bows, your pin gap is real narrow on some of these things, and depending on where you're shooting, what speeds, and what your draw weight and all it is, sometimes you can get away with shooting single pin out to 30 yards.
Oh, and I just decided today. I said, you know what? I'm gonna not mess with it because that second pin was getting so close. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not gonna confuse myself. So I think from 0 to 30, I'm gonna use a single pin and just work with it from that point.
Right on.
So. But I'll have that tuned in more. I've got 4 more days before I leave to have that tuned in. So 4 more evenings of shooting for me, and then I think I'll be ready to go with the PSE.
Good deal.
The sight that I'm using it's a nothing fancy. It's a True Glow sight, and kind of neat that 3 of the pins are 1 diameter, and the 2 lower pins are a smaller diameter.
Okay.
So when you're reaching out for a little bit of distance, you want that dot a little bit smaller. It works out really cool.
Right on. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it covering up a target. A bull, at longer distances. That makes sense.
Exactly. So, it was a day. It stopped raining this morning. It was just downpouring buckets, and then it finally stopped, and I was able to get out there and do that. But
good deal. Well, I tell you what, it looks like my mileage here tells me we've been talking about 15 minutes, so we probably might ought to take a break here in just a second.
You know what? That's a great idea. How about we step outside, and we'll get back to this, because another interesting thing happens when you're trying to practice deer that you might have saw on Facebook. We'll be right back after this break.
I shoot PSE because I like 1 pin to 40 yards.
I shoot PSE for the perfect combination of feel and performance.
I shoot PSE because you can shoot lighter poundage and increase arrow speed.
I shoot PSE for the fastest bows on the planet.
I shoot PSE because my livelihood depends on my bow.
I shoot PSE because better engineering makes a better bow.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE. I shoot PSE.
Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters, and the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of the Up North Journal podcast that I'm by myself in the cabin. I'm loving it. I'm kind of liking this little deal here. But don't worry, folks. Oh. See, we still got Mike, folks, so he's there on the road. He's coming back from deer camp. And, first segment, we talked a lot about me, Mike. How about we talk a little bit about you, and how did the weekend go with... we talked to Jerry last week, and he said that he had deer moving the cold fronts and stuff. How did your weekend go?
I didn't have as much luck as Jerry did. Let's put it that way. I got up to camp. I busted out of work Friday night, got up there about 1 a.m., and slept. I set my clock, get up at 5:30, but I just about threw it against the wall at 5:30 a.m. I did not feel good. I had a headache, and was wore out. And I thought, you know what, missing a morning hunt's not going to kill me. So I slept in and then got up about 9 o'clock in the morning and proceeded to get some stuff around after breakfast and head out to the woods and finish some work on blind that needed to be done. That I had planned to do.
All right, so your first order of business was to finish up some unfinished business.
Yeah, the blind that the what we're calling the hive.
Yep.
Beehive. I went back and put the door lock on it, on the door, the entry door, so I didn't have to tie it shut anymore. And I also bought a bunch of flat black spray bombs and proceeded to paint the whole inside of it flat black. So by the time I got done, my hands were black. Everything that I blew out of my nose was black. I felt like a pain in myself.
Well, so, you know what? That's a good one for having those aerosol cans inside the blind is. Yeah, that's what happens. Happened to me. Don't worry. When I was making my blind, the same thing happened. So you're not the only one. So is it?
I got it all done though.
Okay. Is the blind officially completed?
No.
Oh.
No. I don't know if it'll ever be completed. I got some flooring put in there, a little bit of flooring. Got my 2 chairs in, got a little heater put in. So it's making progress.
Hey, as long as you're moving forward, one step at a time, you're going to get there.
Yeah, yep. So it's definitely huntable. I can hunt out of it with no problem right now. So it's just waiting for rifle season, and we'll get in there. And hopefully the windows, I'll have them up. If I get time this week, that's the next project I plan on doing. Is getting the material for that, and hopefully knocking those out. Excellent.
You know what? I tell you what. After this weekend being in the 70s, and tomorrow is supposed to be close to 80, and you might not need windows if you're up there hunting now, but eventually it's going to change.
Air conditioner.
Yes, you definitely could use an air conditioner, no doubt about it, because, man, it's just been wacky. So, all right, so you got up there, you got some breakfast in you, went out, and you worked on the blind. Where'd you go from there?
Well, after that, I kind of rolled things up, got back to camp, took a shower. You know how I am about scent, and made sure I got scent free, had my scent clothes, got them all bundled up in my backpack, put on my base layer and my hunting boots and a pair of sweatpants, and jumped on the bike. The bike made its maiden voyage with the bow on the little rack I got on the front of this thing, and made my way to the woods for my first hunt of the year.
I tell you what, and how did it all work out?
I wondered if it was going to work as well as what I thought it would in my head. You've always got these notions of how things are going to work out, and then when it comes time to actually do it, you really wonder, is this going to be what I thought it was going to be? And the bigger issue was I actually never put the bow on the rack until I got up there, which was probably not the brightest thing I've ever done.
Okay, so I'm looking at a picture of it right now. So is this rack specifically for bows?
It's a gun rack, actually.
Okay,
is what it is.
All right.
But and I knew it would hold a bow. If it could hold a gun, it could hold a bow, no problem.
You really should have practiced maybe attaching the bow prior to doing this, there, pal.
Yeah, well, you would think that would be the smartest thing to do, but actually it went on with no problem. The only problem I did have with it is if I did not have it oriented one way, the sight was hitting. I got a little reflector. The bikes come with a reflector on the front, on the handlebar, and I never took that off. So if I had it oriented the one way, the sight was bumping that. I'm like, okay, well, let's take care of that. We'll just flip it over. So I flipped it over and put it on. It was no problem.
Oh, all right.
So yeah, that little reflector is going to come off here this week.
Yeah, I see the reflector. I think that's the reflector in the picture here, and I see you got the old GoPro mounted right there too.
Yeah, I had the GoPro on, so I'm interested to see how the video on that turned out. I took some shots riding out, and the trip out on the bike went, better than I could imagine. It worked really well. My tires were just a little low on air, and I took care of that today. But beyond that, even in the sand, the real loose sand, I got around okay. It wasn't bad at all. Made my way out to my blind, and as you know, the temperature is pretty warm, so that's the reason I was just wearing my base layers, and I had a pair of sweatpants on. And I thought, well, people, if there's anybody out here, a neighbor, our neighboring property owner, or anybody else, they see me riding them with base layers, they probably would have thought I was crazy. So, I did put something on my lower end,
we're glad. Okay, I got a question looking at this picture. Now that I'm looking at the picture here, where's your arrows?
Where's what?
Your arrows.
Where's my arrows?
Yeah.
They were strapped to the side of my backpack.
Oh.
Yeah, you know me. I don't even have a quiver mount on that bow.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Do you have a quiver mount on the bow? Okay.
Nope, I don't put quiver. But, after this trip, I kind of thought about that. That might be something I might opt for now and go ahead and mount them just for when I'm riding. But I did strap them on the outside of my backpack. I got these little cinch straps on the side on both sides of it, and it works well. It's not a problem. It's not like I'm carrying a ton of weight.
Right, exactly.
So,
no, I was just looking at the picture. I'm like, wait a minute, I was looking for like the quiver, and I'm like, oh, there's no quiver, and I didn't know if you had a backpack quiver or something like that. But if you got them to your backpack, that's cool too.
Yeah, they're just strapped on. I mean, I had my camera in there. I had a GoPro mount in there. I had on the other side, strapped to the outside was my camera arm that I use in the tree to mount my camera to, and along with the quiver and arrows. And then on the inside, I had binoculars, rangefinder, my flashlight, my hunting knife, my pack axe, breaking pelvic bone if I was lucky enough to get a deer, and I had my scent lock bottoms, scent lock hoodie, my scent lock coat, and 2 pair of gloves, and my scent lock cap. So the backpack was bulging.
Yeah, to say the least, you were fully packed up.
Yeah, I should have took a picture of that. That'd have been kind of cool. Next time I will.
So, how far when you stopped riding were you away from the tree stand that you were going to be going up in?
150, 200 yards.
Okay. Did you put it behind a tree or something, or
leaned it up against a tree, a big oak tree that was right next to a pine tree? So I just parked it there and left it. Yeah.
There you go.
That's the 2-track. Slip my boots off, slip my sweatpants off, and proceed to get dressed, suit up, and walk on it. And it worked out really well. Just for that, because it was so warm that by the time I got to tree stand, I wasn't sweaty. I wasn't pouring sweat. And if I had walked in, that's exactly what would have happened. So,
yeah. About how far did you bike in?
Oh, I would say at least a mile.
Okay. So, yeah, if you think about that, if you walked that mile, you would have been, I hate to say it, but you'd have been sweating bullets by the time you got even to that spot, right? And by the time you get up,
wringing wet.
Oh, you'd have been wringing wet, especially the humidity today and yesterday. It just, I can imagine, you couldn't have got out of enough clothes not to be sweating walking around with all that gear today.
Yeah, well, and when I rode in too, it was the clouds were starting to roll in, but it was still, you could still see blue sky. I got into the stand about 4:00, and the wind was really starting to pick up. We had some pretty strong winds up here, so it's almost had to worry about getting rocked to sleep in the tree stand.
Oh, I hate when that happens. Especially,
but it wasn't too bad.
Especially you're telling me about the family traditions tree stands and how comfortable they are. Just add a little bit of rocking motion from the tree. It'd be like rocking Mikey baby to sleep.
Yeah, just rocking the baby, pretty much. Yeah, it was, and it was kind of an uneventful evening, But when I first got in stand, of course, break out the cell phone, got to take a couple selfies, and give our sponsor some love, and show what we're doing and all that kind of good stuff. And sitting there was a football game on that I was kind of interested in, Alabama-Tennessee game. So, every half hour I'd get my phone out. I had a cell connection. I could check the score in the game. And the funny thing was my nephew was texting me. He said he saw the post, and he said, "What, you're not watching the game?" And I said, "No, I'm in the tree stand." He said, "Well, I thought you'd watch the game." And I said, "They can win the game without me watching. I can't kill deer without being in the tree stand."
Well,
son, you got to have your priorities straight.
Absolutely. And first off, they really didn't need much to win that game because it wasn't pretty close. And
right on.
But yeah, it's hard to
be in the stand.
Hard to take a deer if you're not out in the woods.
I got up there in the stand first. I just kind of sat back and just took it all in, and it's been since last season since I've been up the tree stand.
Yep.
And the colors are popping. It's just beautiful. The wind's blowing. A little bit of blue sky. And you just take it all in. Watch nature. Didn't see any deer up until about 5:30. Saw my first deer at 5:30, and I think it was a doe, but I'm not sure. Pretty big bodied deer. Saw it for just about 5 seconds out behind me in the field, and as I tried to put my bow down and get my binoculars out and get the glasses on them, I couldn't find it again. It slipped off the edge of the field and into the woods. So that was the first deer I saw, and then at 6:30, I decided I was going to get down because it gets dark at 7. I thought, I haven't seen anything. I'm going to get down, I'm going to do some scouting. I thought actually about moving the tree stand that I was in, and I was looking for another location on the edge of the field. And as I got down, I noticed this big doe about 120 yards away down the field.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, game on. Time to go ninja style. So I had the wind in my face, and she was walking with the wind. I'm like, okay, strike one against her. And then I had a bunch of young pine trees between me and her, the field edge, and strike two against her. So, slipped in nice and tight. I picked a spot that I was going to go to right next to a pine tree on the edge of the field. If I can get to that tree, crouch down, she's going to walk within 30 yards of me broadside. And I get up to the tree, kind of hunker down, and I'm watching her, and she's about 60, 70 yards away. I'm like, okay, this might actually work out. And, because, you try to stalk deer, 9 times out of 10 you get busted.
Yep.
So, hang on a second. Holy crap. Wow.
Well, I hope.
I'm alive, folks. I had to stop there for a second. There was a guy with a trailer hanging out in the middle of my lane in the road, in the freeway.
Really?
Yeah, my heart's racing about 90 miles an hour.
People, it's dark out, and you're playing with a trailer out in your lane, which is...
He was hanging out about 4 foot in my lane, yes.
Really?
Luckily, there was nobody by me, and I could move over. Oh, my gosh. That guy's going to kill somebody.
Yeah, well, he's going to get killed if he's still there.
Man, talk about adrenaline dump.
Oh.
I feel like I got buck fever, people.
Oh.
That's crazy.
See, isn't that wild? Well, you know what? Why don't we let Mike calm down a few minutes? We'll take a next break, and then we're going to come back, and we'll pick up Mike trying to ninja style this doe.
Yeah, that's good. Let me get rid of this adrenaline real quick. Take a break.
All right. We'll be right back.
So what do you do when you've completely redefined the way bows are engineered? When you've reached the pinnacle and the band starts playing your victory song, you start a revolution out of thin air. Introducing the all-new PSE Carbon Air, engineered with true carbon technology to be the lightest high-performance bow in the world. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters. And the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Welcome back, everybody. Next segment of the show here at Up North Journal Podcast. We had to break the last one. We had to let Mike calm down after an incident, almost, on the highway as he's traveling home from deer camp.
Near fatal, almost.
Yeah, folks, it wouldn't have been pretty on air. But Mike, you're all right.
Yeah.
Hopefully
still
you're
trucking along.
All right, that's good to hear.
Like I told you in the break, if I had not have moved, I would have hit that trailer square on, and you might have had my demise live on the show. Wow.
We don't want to hear that, but probably would have been our biggest episode ever.
Good thing I can multitask. Good thing I watch the road very carefully while I'm talking on the phone.
And there you go. So you can concentrate more, hands-free driving. So when we went to break, you were. Did you make it to the tree that you were wanting to get to with the deer walking into?
Oh yeah, yep.
Oh, okay.
I walked about 40, a good 40, 50 yards to the tree where I knew the deer was going to cross out in front of me. And it's actually where they had logged in between our field and the swamp. So I was walking through a lot of cutting and a lot of brush. And, I put my ninja skills to the test, and I slipped up there, and I did see another doe that was a lot closer to me. And it was young. It may have even been a buck. It was a real small, probably a yearling deer. And he was flopping and jumping around like a big kid out in the field, and kind of sauntered on off. I didn't pay any attention to that. But, I made it to the tree. So I could get a good look at what was coming down the pipe.
And she was coming, right? She was heading towards you?
Yeah. Yeah, she was feeding. She was feeding on that rootstock rye that we planted. And before I get to the rest of the story here, let me say our fields look fabulous. The rootstock rye in my field is probably a good 4 to 5 inches tall. It's come up real nice. We had a lot of good rain, and we also planted it with mammoth red clover, and the clover is taking off like wildfire.
Oh, the deer are going to love that. I tell you what, they're going to love that. And you know what, like we've talked about in past episodes with that, how you've got that planted and worked out. It's doing a really good job, it sounds like, of the rye protecting the clover.
Yeah, and that's just it, too. The rye, it's up a good, like I said, in my field, 4 or 5 inches tall. And the clover, it's popped up, probably a good inch and a half. And that's going to provide some good feed for them in the spring when the snow's off. So it's already taken a hold and popping up, and it's done outperformed way beyond what we thought it would do this year.
And you just
planted because it was so dry.
And you just planted that when? Just last month? 2 months ago now, right?
Yeah, we planted that. I want to say it was about the first week of August, last week of July, but I think it was August. I'd have to go back and look, but I really think it was the first week of August when that happened, when they were in there planting, because I was up that week working on or doing some work up there. So, but we've had perfect rain, so we can't complain.
Well, that's it. You've had the perfect conditions. You did get some rain. It's been good. It hasn't been really drought. So that's good to know that what you've planted is taken foot. It did last year for you, but it sounds like it's almost even better this year.
Yeah, I'm really pleased the way things are rolling on our fields up there. Everything is green, it's full, it's lush, and deer just all over it. Can't complain, And the one I was hunting, she was on it. She was coming right down the field edge on the opposite side, on the narrow side of the field, and but the plan didn't quite turn out like I had hoped.
Uh-oh.
I didn't spook the deer. The wind was in my face, and that's what was odd. She was feeding with the wind, so she never caught wind of me. She never seen me. It's just like she's like, okay, I've had enough. I'm full, and I'm going to go up into the oaks now. And that's where she turned and went straight away. Not straight away, but like 90 degrees to me away from me.
Man.
So.
Now, do you think it was because, or did she get like a sixth sense type thing that, I think I'm
No, I don't think it was that. She never made any indication that anything was wrong. She wasn't spooked. She wasn't looking around. Not alarmed. Didn't give any alarm signals. It was really like, okay, I'm done eating. I'm gonna go lay down now up here, either in the pines on the low side, or walk up the ridge to the oaks and bed up on top. So
that's
right
wild.
Behind the oaks. There's another bedding area. So and really, that's the thing is along the edge that she was on. That field is probably a good 100, 150 yards long, and she has ample opportunity to turn off that field at any point in time and make her way up, up into the high ground. So.
The only thing better would have been the perfect. It has that ring to it of you had the deer coming in, and you have that one tree that all they got to do is step beyond, and they never do.
Yep.
But in this,
she went behind a tree, and then after she stepped out, she took about 2 steps, and that's when she turned off the field. But
see,
I tell you what, she got to about 60 yards. And for my first hunt, that was pretty doggone exciting. I mean, I was kind of giddy after that. I'm like, that was pretty cool. Be on the ground, doing a stalk, sneaking in, getting to the spot where you got to be for an ambush, and everything is playing right. The wind's right. The only thing is the deer just turned off before, and that's hunting, man. That's why they call it hunting, not killing.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? That just made your, whenever you got out there Saturday afternoon to when you saw your first deer, and then, things happen. And look, you turned, okay, you saw some deer, but then as soon as you got down, you saw another deer, and you went into, as you called it, ninja mode, and you went out and you almost executed it.
Yeah, I really did. I thought it was going to come together. I thought I was going to get a shot, or at least get to draw. I don't know if where I was at, I definitely could have drawn, I think, and took a shot at 30 yards, no problem on the ground. So, I mean, I was ready to make the shot. I got the rangefinder out, and, I ranged the far side of the field, and I'm like, okay, that's 42 yards. She's a good 10 yards off the edge, and I said, as long as she keeps that same line, I'm golden. Everything inside that. So that already, started going through my mind, when I was going to draw, where I was going to draw it, where she was at, and that's a good shot. So.
Well, just like we talked about in the mini cast about that that play you run in your mind, and when to execute, and when do you start getting into motion to make the execution.
Right on.
You know, and that's the thing. Especially now, she was walking in a field, and you said there was another deer in the field. Were there more than just the two in the field?
No, that's all it was in the field. You know, that was the thing is that time of day. I was like, you know, why isn't there more deer in the field? We knew storms were rolling through, but it wasn't a cold front. It was a warm front coming in because the temperatures really warmed up. So I don't know if the deer locked down. There was another party that was up there hunting with us. A young guy was out trying to get his first buck, and all they were seeing were just a few odd and end does as well. So it's like the whole area was playing just about the same. It wasn't just my field.
Oh, it almost sounds like you might be onto something there with a warm front, southerly flow winds coming through, and you did not see the buck movement. You saw a little bit of deer movement. The other guy saw a little bit of deer movement. But last week with the cold front, Jerry Lambert said deer were moving all over the place.
Yeah, you know, and I think that they do. They have that sense. They know when stuff's changing and things are coming. It's really odd that, you know, how animals know that. But, yeah, you can see it by the movement. You know, another thing we didn't see, we're not seeing scrapes yet. We're not seeing buck rubs yet. Those are things that are running about 2 weeks behind right now, it looks like, from what everybody I've been talking to up in our area. You know, we've had a hot, dry summer. It just seems like everything's just a little bit late right now. So, you know, hopefully by next week we're going to start seeing some activity. We've got some more cold weather coming through. Hopefully it'll pick up.
You know what? I think I would agree with you on that. And I'll know more when I head to the UP next week about, as I went to Dundee and back, I was kind of looking at the foliage on the trees and around here, and it's almost like that, you know, I think we might be a week or two behind our typical time frame of what's going on. Because I know here we are going into the third week of October, and still got a lot of leaves on the tree.
Well, usually, but yeah, by this time of the year at our camp, usually the leaves are pretty much done. And right now, the colors are just coming in really good. So I'm hoping, you know, next weekend we still got some good color because I didn't get to take a chance to take a lot of photos. I took very few this morning, and that was really about all I got a chance to do. So. Well,
you took a nice photo of the lake there with the mist on it. Nice photo of you drinking a nice cup of coffee.
Yeah, well, you know, and that's something I'd like to talk about. You know, is I got up this morning and it was pouring down rain, 5:30 in the morning, and the rain was coming down. I actually thought I was going to have to put an arc out there to get around. And I'm like, nope, not happening now. I'm rolled back over, and I woke up at about 7:30. The rain had stopped, but when you looked outside, it was so foggy you couldn't see 2 feet in front of you. It was really humid. It was warm, and there's just no way I was going to make my way, especially at that time, 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I should have already been in tree stand, but it was just too wet. So I got up and made some coffee, sat on the porch, and enjoyed nature. You know, you take what the good Lord gives you, and you make the most of it. That's all you can do.
The sights, the sounds, and the smells, right?
Exactly. I mean, and it was. I mean, you could smell the dampness in the air, and you could smell the wood, and smell the leaves, and the colors were popping with the water, you know, glistening off of them. It was a really nice morning once that fog lifted.
I tell you what, when I was shooting my bow this morning after it stopped raining, I was out there, and Deb came out there with me, and that was it. It was like take a deep breath, and it was like, love that smell. Nothing better than a fall October morning.
Yeah, you know, you can tell. You can tell fall is here, and it's in high gear right now. But yeah, so I didn't get a chance to get out and hunt this morning. You know, after I stalked that doe, I kind of walked around a little bit, got my bike, and made my way on in. And riding back, pretty much the same thing as riding in. You know, no problems, no issues. And this morning, after the rain dropped, one of the guys come up to camp, and he wanted me to give him a hand with getting some stands, a couple stands up and pop-up blinds. So,
okay,
you know, just made it a work day, because when we went out, and that was like at probably 10:30, 10:45, it was so stinking humid and hot, and you could feel the temperature rising. It had to be 75 degrees.
Yeah, it was in the 70s today.
Humidity was probably 85, 90%, and it was miserable. And I'm like, I'm not hunting this evening. There's no way. Especially if the clouds break and the sun pops out, it's going to get even worse.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know what the temperature got up to downstate today, but it was every bit of at least 75 degrees up here. And there's no way I was going to shoot a deer and have to try to get it home without it spoiling.
Oh, yeah, that would have been, you'd have been racing against time and ice.
Yeah.
But
well, that's what I just took, and we made it a work day. We put out 3 pop-up blinds and 2 tree stands. So, and then I went back out, cleaned out a ground blind, swapped out a couple chairs, and hung 4 new trail cameras in different areas. And we went from scouting the whole property mode now and doing our deer study, trail cam study. I got all the cameras down from that, and now it's hunting time for me, and I'm starting to scout runways and places where I've got stands and seeing what kind of activity I got.
It is that time for the next month or so. That's going to be high gear for both of us. We're both heading up next week to do I'll be in the UP, you'll be back at your camp, and then turn right around, and in a couple weeks after that, we're going to have gun season. So,
right on.
You know what? It's
here, man.
It is. It's finally here, and so a lot of people have gotten out early. Some haven't gotten out at all. You finally got out. I'll get out next week. But you know what? It's that time, and it's exciting. That's the whole.
It is.
That's a whole another aspect of hunting.
Something I just remembered when I was riding out with my bike. This is something I forgot. It kind of stuck in my head. Okay, so I'm riding out, and I come. There's an intersection that I need 2 tracks that I got to turn on, and beyond that intersection, probably another 150 yards or so, in the middle of a field that I could see at the end of the road that I'm riding, was a huge doe. I mean, she was gargantuan. She's feeding along, and as I got to that intersection and turned, she never once lifted her head. She never heard me. And, and that's something, if I'd been walking, I would have been on that road a lot longer, number one. But being that I was on the bike and quiet, I was able to zip down to that corner, make that turn, and get away without her even raising her head.
She didn't even bother giving you.
Yeah, never knew I was there.
Right. That's awesome. See, that's you know what? That's a good thing to take into consideration. Another bike thing that maybe because you were going relatively faster than a walk, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were able
car noise.
No car noise, and you were able to zip by her and get past and beyond her, and never even affected her.
Yeah, that's something that I've experienced a couple times when I headed up this summer and I was riding the property. I could get fairly close, or I would zip by a field and deer wouldn't even know that I was anywhere around. So far, the only problem I'm really going to have with that is when I'm up there with the kids. When that happens, I'm not going to be able to ride in because I'm going to have the kids with me.
Right. We talked about that on the last episode. I'm still telling you to get the little trailer thing for the bike and trailer them out there.
No. I'm not trailering anybody out.
Oh, man, I tell you.
They get their own bike, pedal their own way.
Kids are old enough, they can pedal their own bike.
That's right.
So.
Yeah, they go buy their own bike, too.
All right. Hey, while you're still traveling down the road, how about we step out for our last break of the show, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some more fun-filled things from this weekend.
Sounds good.
The 2015 Dream Season Decree is a deadly combination of speed and precision. It's built for the moments when time stands still. When the only thing that will break the silence is an arrow slicing a clean path to the kill zone. The bow of your dreams is a nightmare for big game. This is PSE's Decree. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters, and the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Welcome, everybody, back at the show. Last segment of the show. Mike, still on the road again.
On the road home.
On the road home. Have you hit any traffic yet?
Nope, and I got dry pavement finally.
Oh, good. Good deal. Have you crossed the Zilwaukee?
Yes, I crossed the big bridge in Saginaw. Yes.
All right.
I've gotten by, I'm almost at the big outlet store.
There you go. But
big busy exit here on I-75 in Michigan.
Yeah, no doubt. But for the last segment of the show, so basically your weekend, it was a work weekend. You got some hunting done. You got some ninja style hunting in. What are you thinking going into next week? You're gonna have a week to think about it now. The game plan. Your dad's gonna be up. What do you think's gonna? Kelly's been doing a little research on the weather. It looks like it's gonna cool down. Up by me, it's supposed to be in the 30s and 40s for next week, but as in Michigan, things change, so hold on to that. But
right on. Wait 5 minutes, no change.
No kidding. So I could either go from 30s, 40s to 60s, 70s, rain, snow, anything. But what's your game plan you think you're going to be for next weekend? And the next week?
It's strange you ask that because that's kind of what I was thinking today. Once the weather popped and it got hot, humid, and I knew I wasn't going to hunt, I said, okay, I've got to maximize my time that I've got left to getting ready for when my dad and my uncle come up. And, and I've got 2 other guys that are coming to camp as well that are going to hunt. And the one of them was up there today. That's who I was helping set up pop-up blinds with and a couple other tree stands. But those things were playing through my mind pretty heavy. It's like, okay, I've got stand set, but, am I really ready? Do I really think I've got all my ducks in a row? And I've been flying blind this year. It's been a busy year at the camp. We've had the logging project happen, and I still haven't really figured these deer out yet. I know where the does are. The does are always feeding on the fields. So I just started thinking, okay, I need to get trail cameras out. I need to put pop-up blinds on these deer runs and start really trying to think ahead and get ready for next week. And that's kind of what I did today. But I don't know, man. I really feel lost going into this hunting season because I don't have any hard evidence right now of where my best spots are going to be. And that's kind of got me worried.
And here we are. We're in Michigan. We're looking at getting into the next week. Will be the last full week of October when we're up there and you're up there. So I'm hoping that something starts budging as far as getting these bucks up and moving. Now, with you, like you said, your does are on the fields feeding away, packing it away for winter time. The bucks are going to have to feed and move here. There's no doubt about it.
Well, that's just it. I've always been reminded. One of the guys, our camp manager, we talked a lot about this because we don't have shooter bucks on trail camp, and he's like, you got to remember, you're taking one slice of the property. That buck could be 50 yards to the other side, and it's completely out of camera shot.
Oh,
so you could be in the right area, but your camera's just not showing you the right evidence.
Absolutely.
So
that's the one thing we've talked about with the cameras, and the effective range you're taking the picture. What they say in the effective cone of the picture. All that deer's got to be is to the right a little bit more, or to the left, or behind the camera. But he is there, and like in your case, he could be still in your area, but just off cam.
Well, that's something I kind of thought about, and I've run through my head a couple times here in the last week or two, and I haven't done it yet. But some of these cameras have time lapse on them, and you can set it to take a picture, one picture every minute or every 5 minutes. And I really thought about taking and running it down the length of the field, just aiming it, at a wide section of our field, and running a time lapse just to see what's in the field at the distance. Because that way it doesn't have to be triggered. It's just going to take a picture.
Right, exactly.
Whatever's in front of it, you're going to see it.
Yep, and it doesn't have to be triggered. And you set up your time lapse forever, how many pictures, forever, however long. That actually might be a good way to take a look at those fields that you got, just to get a overview of what's going on. Because right now it sounds like the bucks in your area don't want to be moving in front of the cameras.
Yeah, it's just, and I've seen plenty of tracks. I mean, actually today, where I put a tree stand up, I put a new tree stand up on a game trail, right next to a game trail that I know deer run. I seen a real nice track. I mean, I'm talking a nice track. I mean, there's definitely some weight on this deer, and if it's a doe, she's running like a buck. I got to think that what I saw was a buck track, and that got me cautiously optimistic. So I did put a camera up, and real close to my tree stand. And actually, I put three cameras on this field, and I'm hoping that at some point I'm going to catch something crossing that field.
That's exactly what's probably end up going to happen in reality. I think things are going to change as soon as we get an official change in weather, because
right.
We need something to go here, and weather seems to be like we had a couple cold fronts come through, like Jerry said. They're feeding, which you're seeing. So now we've got to get to the part in the next couple of weeks where we're going to start to shape up and get this rut going here in Michigan and get these bucks on the move, because right now it seems like they don't want to move.
Exactly. Well, they don't have to move. Like you said, you've got full moons at night. And, when I was driving up Friday night after work, that was the one thing I did notice. There was no cloud cover. I could see out into the woods quite some distance.
Yeah.
And I was, like I said, I got there at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I was like, okay, I know what the game plan is. But see, then it clouded up the next night, so we didn't have to worry about them feeding all night. Last night, coming into today. But like I said, I didn't have that opportunity to get out.
You know what, and that's the thing. You could see it when you got there at 1 o'clock in the morning, and if you look out in those fields when you're driving in, think about a deer. That deer can see from one end of the field to the other, and it's like daylight.
Right, exactly.
So why? I'll eat during the night, and then come morning, I'm going to head off to my bedding area and lay down till noon, 1 o'clock.
Right.
So
that's kind of what I think's been happening, because it's been so doggone warm, here lately. And, like you said, it's supposed to change this coming week. Let's just hope the weatherman's telling the truth.
Well, that's all we can do is hope that he tells the truth, because they can tell the truth, not tell the truth and get away with it. But that's another story.
Well, people I know it can be wrong 50% of the time to keep their job.
Yeah, you got that right. But, and as for me, as I'm going up there, one of the exciting things that's going to happen for me is my brother's going to go with me, and it's been a long time since we've been able to hunt together. And
that's got to be exciting.
You know what, it is. And it's going to be the first time me and my brother are going to be up there, and my dad is not going to be around. So I think it's going to be a special time to be up there with him and me, and I'm sure we're going to have a couple little talks about past years of hunting camps with Dad that he was in, and it kind of popped up on my Facebook reminder that a couple years back, that he was up at camp and he had a big smile on his face. But I
saw that today. I was thinking about you, man, when I saw that this morning or yesterday. But I did see that, and it brought a smile to my face.
Yeah, it brought a smile to my face, because I know what going up north meant to him. Whether it was just up north in the lower, up north in the thumb, with my brother hunting in the thumb area, or going up north with me to the upper, just getting outdoors. He was an outdoorsman kind of guy, but just getting outdoors, whether it was even fishing. So, I think it's going to be a special week for me and my brother being up there. So I'm looking forward to that. As far as a game plan for the deer, that's going to be. I'm guessing it's going to be hopefully I get that cold weather to come in. I'd like it in the 30s. That'd be perfect.
Right on. Yeah, well, we can hope.
Yeah.
I know my dad's coming up from down south. I talked to him today, and he said it was 80 degrees down there today. So their season open this weekend, but he said nobody's hunting because it's too warm.
Yep, I agree with that. You know what? And you can tell your dad next time he's on the phone with him, keep the warm weather down there. Don't bring it up here yet.
Oh, no doubt. There's no doubt. I do not want warm weather.
Yeah.
You leave that down there. But, like you're talking about your pops. It's, my dad's 72 now, and this is going to be the first year that he's going to hunt with a crossbow. He's not bringing his bow. He's kind of putting that away, I think. And so he's hitting a point in his life where he's slowing down. And, we never know, when our last hunt's going to be. So we got to cherish each moment we've got with our family. Make sure we get out there and get it hard.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct about that. And is he going to be using the RDX?
Yes, he is. Yep. I got to shoot the RDX 400 this week. I'm going to get that thing tuned up. And I think I just hit a roadblock.
What?
Yeah. Freeway, everybody's stopping, and I see sirens everywhere.
Oh.
So, it wasn't me hitting the trailer.
Well, that's good. But actually, you've had a pretty smooth ride. If you're should be just are you still north of 475?
Yes, I just crossed, just came underneath the Cloud Mount Morris exit, so I should have got off and taken the side roads home. I saw the lights, but I didn't see the tail lights. I just saw a bunch of flashing lights, so everybody's starting to stop here. So
well, it looks
I might be here till tomorrow. Who knows?
Oh no, they need you at work tomorrow, so you got to be home before that.
Yeah, right on.
So. But no, I'm looking forward to it next week for sure. We'll figure out how we're going to do a podcast next weekend. I'll probably call you from up there, or however we're going to work that out. So, but
I don't know how we're going to work that out just yet.
Yeah, well,
we may have to resort to some old technology and do it on a third party system to kind of get you on the show. I'm going to take the computer and stuff up, but it's definitely a conundrum trying to figure it out. But we'll get something out one way or another.
You know, all you got to do is give me a string long enough with a cup, and I'll be on the other end of it.
10 can and a string, brother. That's how we used to do podcasting when we were kids.
Absolutely. That wasn't too long ago, the way this technology's going.
Right on.
So, but no, it sounds like you had a great weekend. You're on your way back. I had a good weekend. I'm ready. I'm 99% ready, trying to get all my stuff together, just trying to go through my checklist in my head, what I need, what I don't need, what to take for the girls, what they need. So I am looking forward to next weekend, getting out there, and you're going to turn right around and head back up there, so that's cool too.
Yeah, we're both going to be out doing our thing at the same time in different places. So
you got it. We'll have the state of Michigan covered.
I think so. You take the upper and I'll hit the lower.
There you go. You know what? How about everybody, we wrap this show up while Mike's sitting in traffic, and stay tuned. Don't forget our mini cast. Don't forget to catch our show over on the OPC as well, and tune in there. Got some great shows over there going on. If you're bored at work, need something to listen to, go to the OPC, check out a new episode of a show, check it out. Go on Facebook, check us out on Facebook. Go to our website as well. But, hey, Mike, how about we wrap it up for the week?
Sounds good. And if anybody's out there that shoots anything, and take some pictures and put it over on our Facebook page so we can talk about it.
There you go, everybody. Hey, anybody getting out in the woods, anybody getting out in the outdoors, just remember one thing. Be safe out there. That'll do it.
This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Cabela's,
Antler Action,
Spot Shooter Archery,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
and Badass Slingshots.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.